Hi everyone, my name is Kiki and today I'm here with Krista Goncalves. Hello Krista.
Hi Kiki.
So today on Making It Real, we are diving into a particular subtopic, and that is for our raw recruits. So if you've been following some of our new content around, building and scaling your business, and you feel like, oh my God, I'm not even there yet. I've, just finished my nutrition program, or I've just finished this health coaching course, or maybe you've just made that decision of, okay, I want to work in this world, but you're really at day one or week one of that journey, then no worries, because this content is for you. So this week we're talking about finding our niche. So I wanted to bring on a branding and a strategy expert that not only is very familiar with the wellness world, but is actually an awesome branding person. And I've actually had a consult with Krista before. I don't know if you remember that, Krista. It was months ago.
Yeah, you bet.
It was amazing. It was like an hour and I came out of it like, whoa, I feel so clear. And Krista's content is just super awesome. So she's a former holistic nutritionist turned copywriter and brand strategist specifically for health and wellness practitioners. She lives in the gorgeous BC with her husband and her 2 young active kids. And so when she's not writing or being a complete word nerd, she's paddleboarding on a lake, doing a boot camp without workout in the park, or outdoor hiking. So very BC, loving that. So today, again, I mentioned to Krista, let's talk about finding your niche. And right away, Krista, you were like, well, actually, if they're newbies, we need to explain to them what is a niche. So do you want to maybe start there?
Absolutely. So first of all, thanks so much for inviting me on. I do appreciate it. And I love talking with communities like the one that you're serving. So very excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. So let's just dive right into, you've heard this word, niche. So you're a brand new nutrition professional, perhaps you're into the health coaching game and you've heard this word. I know you have, but have you really dug underneath what a niche is and how specifically that pertains to the health and wellness industry? So here it is in just a really quick, simple nutshell, no flowers, no bells. It's just a subset of the market, or really just a focus area on which your particular, say, a program or your whole brand is focused. And so this is going on the premise that your brand, and I'm sure you've heard that word as well, whether you've dug underneath the layers of getting into your own personal brand, it's that you are your brand. So for simplicity, that is, for example, with myself, I started building a brand called Making Lemonade. It really just started with a women's blog that then became my business platform. And I've since done a little bit of shifting and surfing back to kind of my roots, and it's now Krista Goncalves Co. So that being my brand, it really is just me. And that's what I want you guys to know about your brand at this point. So niche is just a subset or a focus area, which your services, a program that you might be building, or your brand focuses on. So.
Perfect. So then what I'm hearing is, regardless, even if you don't think that you have a niche, like you sort of do, like automatically, it's almost like rooted because it's within you.
Well, that's more speaking to that your brand is you. So essentially, I don't just come out, for example, just using, mine as a simple example here, Krista Goncalves Co. That's pretty easy. I'm branding myself. Now, do I just kind of walk into my business being 100% exactly as I am in real life as it pertains to business? No, it's going to be little slices and portions of my real authentic self. And because there's a brand, there's a perception, there's a set of emotions that I want my target audience, we're going to talk about that one in a second, but my target audience walks away from when they interact with me, my services, my programs.
Perfect.
So that's more speaking to a brand, but niche. And let me give you an example to kind of hit it home what a niche might look like for any given health or nutrition professional. So this could be chronic pain. That's really a big upcoming trending one these days. Gut health,
going to say.
Women's hormonal health. Yay, that was mine. And skin health. So those are just basic examples, ones that are very popular, trending, and are really permeating the nutrition space right now.
Perfect. And I know a lot of the practitioners that I speak to on Meal Garden, oftentimes you're mentioning these problems or issues that they've dealt with themselves. And then it just makes sense for them to serve others on something that, a solution that they found. Now, with that said, so when is it that you need to sort of pick your niche? Because we're often inundated with, find your niche and just dive down into that. So is that like right when you've decided, okay, I'm going to be a wellness practitioner, like, is it like step one, find your niche?
Absolutely not. Much too popular belief that you have to do this, all at once. The moment your coursework or your diploma or your degree is said, done, and you dive right in and stick your business hat on, and you've got to get down that checklist as fast as possible so that you're in the game as fast as possible. Slow down, take a breath, one step at a time. And niche is not something you need to do and come running right out of the gate being with all certainty, because there's going to be a lot of things that flex and change and evolve your business, your brand, and your niche being one of them. So when to start is when it starts to evolve and settle into place. And you'll know when that is, because when you're just starting out, you probably have no idea, honestly, where to focus your health or nutrition counseling. And again, it's totally okay. But you can spend some time being totally general, like for a while. I probably spent a solid year and a half, maybe even 2 years being general. Now, did it serve me well? No, but it allowed me some real introspection, more so into who I did not want to work with and what kind of areas of focus I didn't want to tackle. So the valuable thing that you're going to gain through that experience of keeping it more general when you take on, some real clients, is that you will see a pattern emerging with who you're starting to work with. So for myself, I worked with anybody, everybody, all the time, every health issue. Yeah. Until I finally started culling that down to, well, okay, I'm going to work with that client today, and I know this is the topic we're going to talk all about. So when you are speaking to everyone, working with everyone, and so therefore working with every possible, health affliction under the sun, and then trying to apply your health and nutrition knowledge and guidance and, develop offerings around that, you can see how difficult that's going to be, like slugging through mud day in and day out.
Very consuming.
Yeah. So if you're anything like me, you'll start to know what and who you don't want to work with.
And so then where do you start? What is one of the sort of first steps before, diving into, okay, what's my niche? What's a process that you'd suggest starting first? Is it just kind of being broad and working with everyone?
So it is actually identifying the who. That comes before niche. So you said the words exactly, was who do you want to serve? And the who ends up being your ideal client. So it's that one person. If you could just identify and personify everything about one person, then clone them and work with them repeatedly, that then becomes a ideal client, or some people call dream client. But in marketing terms, you want to say you're going to develop an ideal client avatar, an ICA. So consider that like your entire business. So everything that you create, everything that you sell, because you do have to sell, it is business, it's done with this underlying premise of serving your niche, but more so it's serving that ideal client. So really think about that. Using my own blog, which was at that time called Making Lemonade, that it just all started with this women's blog. Random is the one word I can use to describe that blog. I just thought as long as it had something, even closely related to health or nutrition, people are going to read it, right? People are going to gravitate towards it. It came out of my head. They're going to, they're going to love it, right? And that's then going to generate clients. No, I'm pretty sure I was writing that blog for about a year and wondering why on earth no one was reading my content. Why wasn't I generating interest? So it's because I didn't know who I was serving and what they needed from me. It's always going to come down to what's in it for me. So the number one identifier has to be, who is it you want to work with? It's going to be pretty hard to identify and really kind of nail down a specific area of focus within the vast world of health, nutrition, fitness, wellness, if you don't know who you want to serve in the first place. So it kind of like stands to reason that if you're helping anyone and everyone, as I was, then you can't possibly know what content or out in the world in order to serve them best. And as we say, get them out, move them out of pain, right? They're always struggling with something. That's called a pain point. So you have to know who and what their pain point is in order to know exactly what topic or subject area you're zeroing in on. And that is because they have a problem and you are going to create your offers around that problem, not something you just enjoy creating offers around.
Totally. And how specific does that problem need to be? Like how zeroed in do we need to get when it comes to, you know, our niche? And because yes, like chronic pain, that sounds, in a way, it could be so broad. Are we supposed to kind of go, okay, chronic pain due to inflammation in the knees, you know, at 45, like, and can we still have, you know, okay, I serve chronic pain, you know, in these 3 areas? Or what's your take on when people are just getting started of, you know, being able to have more than one niche or kind of a whole bunch of niches that are similar?
Exactly. So when you're first starting out, keeping it totally general, because then the answers are going to start coming to you. So that leads me into what are absolute first steps? So say you take on a client to maybe, yay, 3, I've got 3 clients. One's a man, one's a teenager, and one's a family. You've lumped them all in together. So it's really kind of across the board. And the man's got, you know, this problem that they've come to you for, and the family's got this problem. The teenager, well, you know, the problems they've got. So, so it's going to start coming to you. But when you are ready to start, okay, I'm ready to take that next step, because this spreading myself thin, that's what I really found in that first year of my nutritional practice. I enjoyed working with a real variety of people because I didn't know what I was going to get every day. But at the same time, I felt really spread thin, and such that I can't know everything. I can't possibly. So that was my number one motivator for wanting to, well, also my bank account, I will agree. It might have been another motivator there, because it's hard to keep up with brand new clientele and then repeat clientele if you're continuously spreading yourself thin. That's another one. So it was my own drive to want to start fine-tuning and niching down so I could really stand out and feel credible and as the expert that I knew I was in nutrition, but I wanted to be that consummate expert, and that ended up being women's health and hormones for me. And where did that come from? You said it earlier. It was my own health journey. Yeah. So that's what really spawned. So is I want people to ask themselves right out of the gate. This is where I want you to start, is what common questions do you get asked, whether it's even from family, friends, but then once you do start taking those first clients, you're going to start seeing a lot of patterns, and it's going to be in the questions that they start asking you. So again, niches often develop, I would say 95% of the time, based on like a health coach or a practitioner's own journey. Certainly did for me. I know you've had the same experiences yourself, Kiki, but when you're more open about your own health journey, people going through, you know, kind of the same or similar things, they're going to naturally ask you questions about that. So sit and just have a think on it, because I'm going to run you guys through an exercise actually, and I'm going to screen share a little something that I do in my own strategy sessions, but these are the I want you to be kind of noodling on right now. like, what are the say top 3 to 5 questions you get asked over and over again? You're going to see that pattern. Just start jotting them down. Like, why are people asking you that? Is it because you went through something similar? And then, do you actually enjoy, like, do you find yourself kind of fired up to get into that discussion and enjoy answering those questions? So for example, people often ask why I actually stopped practicing as a nutritionist or a health professional, and why I now am more of a business mentor and I help other health professionals. It was because in one session that I had, this was still probably the last like kind of live in-person client that I took for nutrition. It was about hormones, so I was totally jazzed about that still. But this young lady was a nutrition student herself. And she was just about finished her coursework. And so we finished up our nutrition counseling session, and she said, like those classic words that we all love to hear, "Can I just pick your brain for a minute?" Right? You're going, oh, great, the picking of the brain. And she said, it's actually more about nutrition business, because I'm going to be honest, I'm a little scared now that I'm starting to read all of the things that I need to do to start my nutrition practice. She said, I am set. I am so excited to be a practicing nutritionist, but I'm kind of lost with the whole business side of things. So that was like number one, like, oh yeah, there's a real lack of business principles, and especially as it applies to online business. But of course, that's a whole other big, huge, beefy topic. But I found myself with each question that she was asking me specifically about how does one get started with a nutrition business, I was like rejuvenated with energy that I hadn't felt in quite some time. Yeah. So when you talk about, do you enjoy answering those questions? I knew something had to shift. And it was almost at that moment that I made a very scary decision to actually completely close my nutrition practice and go right into business mentoring and writing for other practitioners. So that was when I knew my some people say niche, I like to say niche myself. When my niche changed, it did a complete 180. Scary as all heck, because I had been so deeply niched into women's hormones all day, all night, sleeping, eating, breathing, about adrenals and thyroid. And then I just let that take a back seat. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy talking about them, but business principles, wow, that was really firing me up. So, can you answer those questions that people are kind of continuously and with consistency asking you? Could you talk about it endlessly? Clearly I can talk about nutrition business endlessly and not get bored, right? So it's like people say, oh, great, she's going to talk about that again. Perfect. That's great. That's when other people are saying that about it.
That's when
you know it's the right one for you. So that's one of the questions that I want you to be kind of noodling on. And then another one that people kind of stumble on, because it's a bit of a deep thinker, but I think it's really important to start kind of diving underneath the layers. And that is, what is your purpose? Like, I know, oh my God, that's too deep. But what is your purpose as it applies to your, growing your business, establishing your business? So what is the underlying motivation for doing what you do? But again, that it's probably, not always, but probably going to come back to and be directly related to your own health journey.
I love that. I was just having a conversation with a colleague of mine, separate from Meal Garden, and we're doing something on the side, and we were talking about, okay, well, what is health? What's the definition of health? And I was like, okay, is it happiness? Like, is it? And she said, it's purpose. It's being in your purpose, and it's when you're aligned with your purpose. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're so right. Because if you're following your purpose and if you're in your alignment of what it was or is that you're meant to do in this world, then you are the picture of health. You're happy, everything is in balance. And so, yeah, it does sound sort of woo-woo, or it sounds like a big thing where it's like, oh my God, purpose, like, let's leave that till next week. But it's so true.
I'm going to put that off till next week.
Yeah. I'll get into my purpose later.
So yeah, that's the point though, is all joking aside, that is something that when you start putting that business hat on, it's going to come up. And I think it really needs to be addressed, because at the end of the day, you know, as this health and nutrition professional, you didn't get in it to come right out of the gate as a millionaire. I mean, that would be fantastic, but come on, you got into it for the impact you crave, you desire to make in the world, specifically in that space, and through that vehicle of health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, right? That's the vehicle. So what do you want to be known for?
Totally.
Right? Oh boy. I know, deep thinking. So with those questions in mind, are we ready? Can I run the group through an exercise? Fantastic. So yeah, I'm excited too, because this is the exact kind of client process. Now, I've kind of kept it a little bit more simple so that you're not going, oh my word, I did not know I was signing on for such deepness today. But I'm just looking to do a little brain dumping. And again, I do this right in my own client strategy sessions when they're having trouble nailing down a niche, which they often are, whether they are brand spanking new, definitely having trouble, because it's scary. It's scary and it's overwhelming to think of only working in one area, like forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa. For one thing, no, that's a myth. Let's debunk that right now. You don't have to choose just one, and it does not have to be forever.
Yeah.
Your business, your brand, you, including your niche, even your ideal client, is going to evolve. It's going to change. It's going to shift. Again, I am the prime example. I went from working with health seekers of a very specific variety and demographic to working with health practitioners. So it's like I shifted up a level in who needed my services and who I was serving. So prime example, it's not easy. It's a bit scary. But again, when I personally had that aha moment, working with that one client, when I thought I was so excited talking about hormones, holy crikey, I was crazy fired up to talk about business. And I just knew in that moment. So my niche has shifted ever so slightly in those, I think it's been 4.5 years since that happened. So if you think you'd like to work in more than one niche, here's the key. Are you ready for it before we dive into our exercise? It's that you have to find a bridge, or like a touch point, a meeting in the middle between your two desired or interested areas of focus. So a great example is going to be gut health. A lot of people are focusing on gut health, right? That's the center of the universe in the world. And that's in the health world, at least, possibly in the world though. So gut health, hormonal health. We absolutely know that there is a touch point or a bridge between those two. Gut health and skin health. We absolutely know there is a touch point. So I'm using gut health because it does link to so many other health issues, and ones that can be addressed by, nutritional changes, lifestyle changes, of course. So that kind of marriage in the middle, that's going to be your sweet spot. And there's where the niche lies. So yes, you can have these two subsets, but there's a beautiful marriage in there, and there's that sweet spot that you can find your way into. So that would be my tip if you're wanting to work into what seems to be two different niches. There's always going to be some touch point in the middle there. So, but when to start is not right out of the gate. Okay. You got other bigger fish to fry than zeroing right on a niche. Some people do come out of school and they know exactly what that is, but the average person, 99% of the time, it's pretty general and pretty broad. And it is going to take some time, and it is going to take working with real honest to goodness clients. Now, those real honest to goodness clients, if you are brand spanking new, take people, work on your friends, work on your family, just get that experience of what it takes to offer up your services and kind of find your groove with that. And that will also help to just get it out of there and start working with real Paying clients. Okay, so I'm going to do a screen share here. So I'm going to press that little button and you're going to see what I am seeing and we're just going to run through this together. Okay. So here we go. All right. So let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you. We're going to brain dump your way to your niche. So I would suggest, now I do absolutely everything with pen and paper first. I actually love the feeling. It's like when you read a paper book and don't read it on your Kindle. I love it. I love that feeling. So it's like back in the olden days when we used pen and paper and then I actually kind of transcribe everything into Google Docs. So whatever truly works for you, I would suggest good old pen and paper and dump out that brain. So the first thing I can say about brain dumping, do not censor yourself. Don't then go to write something down or you think it and you don't even write it down and you've already censored yourself. Oh, that's a stupid idea. Oh, no, I'm never going to do that. Don't even bother. If it came into your head, I want you to get it down there. So secondly, the whole process is that much more effective if you're not by yourself, right? So I'm actually going to bring her right into this and throw her right into the fire. So sit down with a friend, sit down with a partner, somebody you trust or a colleague, but somebody who kind of gets you. So I personally wouldn't sit down with my husband and do this process because he's not in tune with my industry. He's in tune in definitely the health world. He's a crazy pharmacist. He's more into oncology and pharmacy. But with what I do, he doesn't participate in my brain dumps, but I do have my best friend and she's also in my world and she just totally gets it. She's always my brain dumping person. So if you can think of that person, they're the best one to sit down and do this process because then you're going to have back and forth and no one's going to censor anybody. Okay. So this is what I'm going to suggest. Number 1. Okay. You ready, Kiki?
I'm ready.
Okay.
You be answering me something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to answer them right here. I've left it blank, but I want you and I to just throw it out there as if we were having a real brain dump session.
Okay.
What do I enjoy? What do you enjoy doing and talking about as it pertains to health, nutrition, and wellness? What could you talk about all day and not get bored? Let's just spit out 4 things.
Okay. Adaptogenic herbs.
Ooh, yes.
Mindful eating. I want to keep saying like mindfulness, just sort of like mindful, like lifestyle strategies. So it's like whether that's in the nutrition space or not, whether it's through crystals, aromatherapy, but just kind of like general lifestyle protocol.
All the things.
And then I think, I'm not sure if this would be considered a topic, but I'm such a millennial and I just love talking about trends and like what's up and coming and just like the next best thing and sort of debunking if it's worth it or, so I think like emerging trends in the health and wellness world and kind of exploring them. I'm not sure if that's considered a topic, but I could talk.
Absolutely. So I just love that you're just like off the cuff, didn't censor yourself. You just let it flow. That's exactly it. And so then you could even then break that last point down and that could be a whole other little list of topics right there. All of the current trends. What are they? Let's list all those down too.
Yeah.
And so these are a whole whack of things that when somebody is going to interact with Kiki or Kiki Naturals, your business platform, you're gonna get lit up if you come to any one of those topics, right?
Totally.
Okay, amazing. So that's exactly what I was looking for, saying that you and I are either sitting chatting like this, having a strategy session, or you and I are just having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and we're sitting doing this in our living rooms just as, 2 girlfriends. So perfect. Moving on to the next one. What do you not enjoy doing or talking about, and what subjects or areas of focus would you least enjoy if it were to be brought up, or if you had a potential client, for example, who said, hey, could you help me with this? You may say, yes, I can help you with that. That is debatable in the end, but does it fire you up and think, oh,
yeah,
okay, yes, I'd help you with that, but I don't enjoy that.
yes, exactly.
What would those things be? What you not
totally.
enjoy?
Like when people specifically ask me like, oh, okay, but then which, like, what diet should I be following? Or like, can you make me a meal plan? Or like, or can you tell me specifically what I should be eating? Because it's like, no, you need to figure it out for yourself, or like work with an actual nutritional practitioner. But just because I like healthy food and sharing, you know, recipes and stuff like that, I don't want to hold your hand and tell you specifically what you need to eat. I find it in a way it's draining for me. And I know for some people that's their goal. They want to find clients that are just like, tell me what to eat. For me, I'm like, no, like that's not why I'm here. And then I guess other subjects, like I guess diving super deep into not necessarily the science around things, but because I do love just keeping up with trends and almost following things and sharing them at almost a shallow level, in terms of like just getting the little juice and the little entertainment bits from all of the things I love and kind of sharing it in a way that's fun and entertaining. I don't like it when people are like, oh, well, have you, you know, what about all of this research that's like, that states this particular, you know, the perspective on celery juice. And I'm like, oh God, like stop killing the fun of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, stop.
So what I'm hearing is celery juice is,
Yeah.
So okay, fantastic. So it's interesting how you just got fired up and passionate about things that you don't like also, so that you know that those are not going to be your niche.
Totally.
Right? But for example, right at the beginning, I took everybody for everything. And, you know, I had to sit down with a man and let's talk about your prostate health. And I'm just going, you know, right? And it's not that it was uncomfortable for me. It just didn't fire me up about, you know, men's health issues. Not that they aren't important. I'm just not the gal for it. But I had a colleague who I continuously then could come, you know, refer out because she loved it. That's all she wanted to do was work with men. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and those are later on the connections that you'll make, because there are people and there are things that are not in your wheelhouse, but you know whose wheelhouse that is, and you're able to send them to those, and they'll get the you know, amazing service and guidance that they need. So I love that you're like, no. Perfect. That list is almost as equally as important as the list of things that you love to talk about. So moving on to the who. Mm-hmm. Who do I enjoy working with the most, and who values your work the most? Mm-hmm. Who resonates with the way you present your work and the offers that I create, or the offers that I want to create? Now, the offers that you actually create, of course, everything is serving the ideal client, so keeping that in mind. But right now, if you were to be able to create the perfect offers, it's for the who. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely for people similar to me, so female millennials, interested in health, or at least aware of health and wellness and have a passion for that. And then I think if I could choose like a secondary market, it would be like my mom and all of her friends. Like, so I guess like baby boomers. And I mean, I have a lot of friends that are a little bit older, like older than me. And they seem to really like enjoy and resonate with my content, not only because they're my mom's friends, like other people do. So yeah, I would say millennial females at the core, because that's who I am. So it just makes sense that that's who I feel like I can best speak to and relate to. But then there is this other group that I do feel fondly towards, and I feel like they feel fondly towards me too.
So amazing. So again, you didn't censor yourself. You kind of just let that stream. And so if you were doing this actual pen and paper process, write it all down.
Mhm.
So then once you have, and it might just be a word or two, it might just be like a little phrase that pops into your head. I don't even know why I'm writing this down, but I'm just, okay, these words are coming to me. So then once you kind of have the answers, as jumbled and as chicken scratchy as they may look through this kind of process, then go straight up and Google it.
Perfect.
Search up. And so what you're looking for is, what are the results telling you? Okay. This is an amazing day and age that we have this kind of information at our fingertips. If this were even just 10 years ago, we wouldn't have the kind of information, the feedback coming back to us to tell us what's being dictated here. So you're looking for market trends. You'll love that, right? The trends. And so you're looking for the focus area. Is anybody doing this? And don't be put off. Oh my gosh, I was terrified when I first thought I came up with this fantastic idea, thinking, and nobody's doing it. I'm going to corner the market on women's hormones, let me tell you. No, there was tens of thousands of other practitioners and health and nutrition professionals out there doing it. But rather than seeing it as a fantastic thing, because that clearly means there's a demand for it, I just thought, oh my gosh, it's all done. How can I possibly do it differently? So once I kind of got into a better mind frame about it and realized, well, okay, a lot of people are doing it, but they don't do it like me. And that's what becomes the uniqueness of you. And then that lends to building your personal brand, so on and so forth. But in terms of establishing that as a niche, I then realized it was a fantastic thing, because there is no shortage of women sort of in age group, the 35 to 45 age group, that are short on hormonal chaos, right? Yeah. So the market actually dictated it back to me. So that was once I really started putting out all of my different ideas and looked for the trends, that I was able to refine and reshape that. So that's my quick and dirty exercise for you.
Great. I was not expecting that, Krista. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I mean, I learned a lot, and hopefully others did too, but especially me. That was very valuable.
Sorry for throwing you right in the fire. That was awesome, though. I wanted somebody to not be overly prepared. I knew you'd be game for it, and just to show, what it really means to just get right in there and don't censor yourself. That's just number one.
Amazing. So I guess in closing, what's some final remarks that you want to leave our newbies with today after that?
Yeah, it comes down to, okay, I'm going to here's a little truth. And I mentioned it before, and it's that, like, that niche, it is going to change. So don't get too married to it. Because your business, your brand, you are going to change so much. I've shifted. I can't even tell you how many times. Scary as heck at first. The answers will come to you as to why you're making those shifts and why you're feeling called to make the transitions. But the real clarity is going to come from just taking the bloody action in the first place. Just do it. And it can be so perfectly imperfect. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Just take the action.
Love it.
So, settling into your role as not only the nutrition professional, the health professional, but as the business owner. Once you can really get used to wearing that hat, and as you start to actually work with those real clients, you're just going to keep refining, redefining that niche. But once you do start to narrow it down, don't be scared at first when you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to push away and repel some people if I decide to move from all people, all things, all health problems to I'm really jazzed up about gut health. I'm really jazzed up specifically. So this is considered kind of sub-niching, specifically with IBS or specifically with Candida and SIBO or small intestinal bowel overgrowth. It can be really scary, and thinking that you're going to actually push away, but that blows your business wide open. Again, I'm a perfect example of that, helping absolutely everybody and kind of clamoring for clients and clamoring for long-term clients to to sustain the business. Once I really started filtering that down to women's health, women's hormones, I have a real keen interest because of my own health journey in adrenals and thyroid. Once I got really fine and pinpointed, again, that was a journey, that was a process that took time to really settle into that and really feel like I could come in and be a credible expert in that area. But once I did, boom, it blasted it wide open. And that's where I really found my success as a nutrition professional at that time. So it does work, but
so well said. And absolutely, it does work working with you. So I think in close, would you mind sharing how people can connect with you? I'm guessing, this Making Lemonade blog, they shouldn't be reading it, but there should be, there's other platforms that you are sharing your awesome content with. I know.
You bet. Yeah. So I am still blogging. I'm not as wild of a blogger, and I have switched that platform from Making Lemonade to Krista Goncalves Co. I'm doing a lot more video, so you will see that on the blog at KristaGoncalves.com. But you can also connect with me everywhere on socials, but I have a real keen interest these days, and I spend a lot more time on Instagram, and that's Krista Goncalves Co, just CO on the end.
Perfect.
And
are you still offering packages for people that might be watching, or are you working with companies, or are you still working with people? Or
so I have shifted actually from a service base, so offering strategy sessions. While I still do them on a select basis, what I really am excited these days about is courses and programs. So really empowering women, female entrepreneurs who are in the health and wellness space to do things like write their own copy and content for their websites and for their blogs, and create content elsewhere, to create that digital presence that everyone knows that they need, whether they have an offline or an online business these days, and empower them to do it themselves. So I'm writing copywriting courses, so how to do that yourself and become a better writer, because writing is usually very scary for most people, and a lot of people think they're terrible at it.
This morning I was hosting up our podcast for Making It Real with our copywriter, and she was giving some tips. So
awesome.
So this is perfect. And I really appreciate that, because it sounds like you're sort of moving away from, what's that saying where it's like, you give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him.
Teach him how to fish,
we need to figure out
feed him for a lifetime.
Trendy way to say that, but that's basically sounds like what you're saying. So so that's awesome. Thank you. So I'll post those links in the show notes. And I just wanted to thank you so much again, Krista. It's always a pleasure, and I always feel sort of vitalized after talking to you. So I very much appreciate it.
I'm glad I can leave you with that emotion. That means that my personal brand is doing its magic.
Hello. It's almost like you're a branding expert. Thanks, Krista.
Thank you, Kiki. It's been a blast. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.